Ukraine will continue to destroy the enemy and do everything to move the war to Russian territory. Preparations are currently underway for new strikes deep into Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reported the relevant information. He also spoke about the current situation on the front and the Russians' plans. How is Ukraine preparing a response to Russia? The President of Ukraine held a meeting with Rustem Umerov, Oleksandr Syrsky, and Andriy Hnatov. Together with the Minister of Defense and the military, they discussed the situation on the main front lines. In particular, the conversation concerned the Pokrovsky and Novopavlivskyi directions, as well as the Zaporizhia, Kharkiv, and Sumy regions. At present, the intentions and attempts to develop offensive actions by the enemy are being recorded. The Russian army has fallen significantly behind its command's expectations for this summer. Our units will continue to destroy the occupier and do everything to transfer the war to Russian territory. We are preparing our new long-range strikes, the message says. Among its recent attacks far from the front line, Ukraine targeted military airfields housing strategic bombers in several Russian regions last month. The EU has allocated hundreds of billions of euros in recent months to expand its military-industrial complex and support Ukraine's domestic weapons production. Berlin will provide Ukraine its first batch of long-range missiles financed by Germany in the coming weeks, Major General Christian Freuding, who oversees the coordination of the country's military support for Kiev, has said. U.S. President Donald Trump said earlier this week that the Pentagon will resume deliveries to Kiev, following weeks of suspension, and is reportedly considering approving the first new aid package since returning to office. Russia has said that it views the use of foreign-supplied missiles as direct participation by Western states in the conflict, and claimed that Ukrainian troops cannot operate sophisticated weapon systems on their own. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian sustained minor injuries in an Israeli airstrike on a meeting of Iran's Supreme National Security Council June 16, Fars news agency reported on Sunday. According to Fars, related to Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the missile attack was launched as top Iranian leaders, including Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Judiciary Chief Ghulam Hossein Mohseni, and other senior officials were at the meeting with Pezeshkian. The airstrike came 4 days into the Iran-Israel war. The airstrike involved 6 projectiles that struck the entrances and exits of the building, apparently in an attempt to prevent those inside from leaving. The report said Iranian authorities suspect a possible internal leak, citing the accuracy of the strike. The officials managed to escape via an emergency hatch despite the power of the building being cut off. Masoud Pezeshkian and some others were slightly injured in their legs while escaping. Last week, President Pezeshkian said Israel attempted to assassinate him. In an interview with American commentator Tucker Carlson, Pezeshkian said he was in a meeting during the attack. Thanks to the intelligence by the spies that they tried to bombard the area in which we were holding that meeting, Pezeshkian said, without specifying the date of the alleged assassination attempt. The 12-day armed conflict between Israel and Iran broke out on June 13 after Israel struck military facilities in Iran. Tehran retaliated by launching barrage of missile and drone strikes on Israel. Finland's President Alexander Stubb has called Russian leader Vladimir Putin a strategic fool and a military failure for his war of invasion in Ukraine, the Sydney Morning Herald media outlet reported on Saturday. Speaking from his official summer residence, Stubb emphasized that Putin is paying too high a price in the ongoing war in Ukraine, with his troops making very slow progress. I would argue that this is the biggest tactical and strategic mistake in modern history. Putin's goal was to dismantle NATO. Well, he just doubled the NATO border through Finland. I've never seen the EU more united. So, Putin has failed on all fronts, Stubb stressed. The Finnish leader warned that Kremlin's military buildup was likely to continue as the Kremlin was unlikely to return to peaceful democratic state. They will not revert into a peaceful liberal democracy. And second, they will continue a military buildup, Stubb stressed. He also commented on Russia's military build-up near the border with Finland, saying, "We can observe, we see the movement of the soldiers, we see the build-up of the infrastructure. It's normal. We did the same." Stuff stressed Finland's long-standing policy of military readiness. Russia's military buildup on the border came after Finland's decision to end its decades of non-alignment and to join the NATO following full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. A disaster relief unit of Spain's military UME was deployed on Saturday near the northeastern city of Zaragoza after severe storms caused flooding across the autonomous region of Aragon. According to Associated Press, Catalan firefighters continued the search for two missing people who were reported missing on Saturday during the heavy rains in the River Foy mouth area, 50 kilometers southwest of Barcelona. The ongoing search is being conducted by drone teams, helicopters, and underwater units. Catalan regional police and maritime rescue teams also joined the search efforts. The two missing people were last seen crossing a bridge and falling into the river. The most affected areas were the southern part of the metropolitan area of Barcelona. Thousands of distress calls were made to emergency services.